Welcome to the Creative Careers in AI podcast. I'm your host, Jo Samuel. Today, Emma is back, and this time she is speaking to a former student of hers from the Media Communications and PR Master's degree, Regan Dacey. Regan is now the Social Media and Marketing Manager for the Leaf Hotels Group. Welcome, Regan. It's great to have you join us today.
Hello. Thank you for inviting me.
And welcome back, Emma. Over to you.
Thanks, Jo, and thanks, Regan, for being here. It's really great to have you on the podcast, and I'm pleased that Jo's let me interview you as well, so we get to catch up a bit. So I'm going to ask you a few questions related to AI and how it's impacting in your working life and in general. And I just wanted to start off by asking you if you could tell us a little bit about how your creative workflow usually works.
So as social media and marketing manager working across 3 hotels, a vineyard and several hospitality venues, including restaurants, bars and coffee lounges, hospitality is rooted in authenticity, and what I find AI has definitely provided more of a clarity. It refines my thinking. So a bit of context, I'm dyslexic. So when I am able to verbalise my thought processes, AI supports me by refining them and actually documenting. What I found really helps is to always maintain an authentic clarity, reminding yourself that your creative ideas come from your initial observations of the real world, guest behaviours, conversations with teams, networking events. And AI supports my process for just visualising concepts and structuring how they'll come about. And truth be told, when I was at Discovery Park doing an internship, marketing utilising AI, I realised how powerful the prompt engineering process is. And whilst there, I actually created a framework that was focused on the ethical considerations of creating a prompt. That is Make AI. So Make stands for Memory, Action, Keep, Evaluation. Memory provides context and background. Action clearly defines the task. Keep maintains tone, intention and values. And evaluation. This is just where you refine and review the output to make sure it's shaped by your human guidance.
Great. Yeah, I think that's a really important part of working with AI tools, isn't it? It's not just leaving it completely up to them and thinking that the tools can do it completely themselves. They absolutely can't. It needs that human interaction there to make it good quality. So what changes have you noticed in the last couple of years in regards to the development of AI?
So AI is embedded into everything. You've got your Google search, you've got your Meta AI, your productivity tools. So research and planning has definitely become faster. Smaller teams can achieve more with fewer resources. It does take the everyday admin tasks and just fast tracks your productivity. It supports everyday tasks such as meeting summaries, organising notes, information management. But it also has become a very interesting topic of discussion when attending networking events. I was recently at a Kent Invicta Chamber of Commerce networking event in Dover, and there's some very interesting perspectives, and they definitely vary from generations, from backgrounds to even just assimilation to social media itself. But I can definitely see many different perspectives making sense, but the truth it comes down to is AI can also make true human experiences and authenticity more desirable.
Okay, yeah, that's a really nice way of looking at it, I think. So are there any particular AI tools that you use on a regular basis?
So I use ChatGPT Pro on a regular basis, which is interesting because when working for the Canterbury Christchurch Business School as a marketing mentor, I was advised to inform students of other ways of researching. Then when I was asked to lecture a few months before my master's graduation, I was actually then informed to utilise it as an inevitable research tool for the students. So I then realised there is a massive opportunity there to share awareness of the topic.
Yeah, and I think that links to the changes in the recent years, doesn't it? And universities, in general, I think, have changed their approach since the tools were first kind of introduced to now, where generally I see a much more open approach and encouraging the use of AI in the appropriate ways rather than just saying don't use it at all. So it's great to have that specific example that links to that. So when you're working in your daily 9 to 5, or I'm not sure what hours you do, but in your normal job, do you find that, is there a particular percentage of your workflow where you use AI?
I would say 50%. And the reason I would say that is because it mainly helps structuring ideas, analysing information, visualising concepts, admin tasks. But the creative direction and strategy remain human. And I agree that not every element of my role is as impacted. For instance, when the servers went down recently, a few of my touch points weren't attainable. So then I realised the importance of having magazines like Scene at Le Shuttle still functioning, so then there is still an alternative to get your message out there via a relevant medium. But it's all about applying it with a positive impact in mind. It's an extension of yourself. It's the same as a blank canvas until you create the art. Same as anything, we can only hope that others will perceive it as it was intended to be perceived, as the intention of any venture. And I believe that it's just the education and the awareness of that process that will help us moving forward. For instance, you see AI now being humanized, and you have things like dashes in text now being an obvious way of decoding AI usage, and you have certain emojis that come up more than others. So that side of things is very fascinating for me. But with that said, I have also been exploring different AI conversations with organizations like Pilot Generative AI and Eddy AI. And essentially, these focus on the development and the inclusive innovation. It's an area I'm interested in contributing to in the future. And it all comes down to awareness and collaboration.
Great. I wonder, this is kind of tying on to something you said there. Could you tell us a little bit more about those tools that you just mentioned?
Yeah, so a lot of the core values behind the company is to support neurodiverse thinking, to support everyone to have a equal opportunity. AI has been around for so many years, and it's only till now the gold rush has commenced. And funny enough, there has been a recent perspective shared with me where they believe AI is like a rapper, and it's all the branding, it's all the marketing, but there's no substance. You're not sure what's in the rapper. And I think for me, it's just gaining clarity for myself and the next generations is the only way that substance will be known.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I really like that metaphor as well as the rapper. At first, I thought you meant a rapper as in an artist, but yeah, the rapper as in rapping around a product.
No
so
auto-tune on this one.
Yeah. I'd like to talk a little bit about how you think AI is impacting entry-level jobs, specifically thinking about students going or coming up to graduation and what they can expect next in terms of getting into the marketplace. So have you noticed any changes in entry-level jobs that are available to graduates?
I'd definitely say the expectations are evolving. I do think digital literacy and AI awareness is a valuable skill that is becoming more in demand. I do believe it's shifted imposter syndrome, however. When you are in these meetings and you might be the youngest in the room, it doesn't mean that you aren't the one who is capable of expanding the message and the marketing material. Some generations have their own perceptions on what AI is, but equally some generations haven't even assimilated to social media. So that anxiety is only going to exist because there isn't any clarity there to inform.
That's interesting, and especially inspiring as well, in the sense that even though you may be the newest member of the team, you've still got something useful to bring. And particularly if we can kind of equip our current students with those skills to use a variety of AI tools, then hopefully they can kind of be trailblazers when they go into
No, I
their
do
roles.
definitely agree. And I think it's also remembering that the experiences of those with wisdom are valid, because them core values will shape your marketing. that's where we have to have that harmony, because it's great to implement new strategies, but without having that DNA of the seed that was planted, it doesn't have any integrity or sustainability. There is many things externally that can be, a consideration, but if anything, there should be sustainability of clarity, sustainability of thought, sustainability of gratitude towards that process, not just limiting it from the get-go.
Okay, yeah, and I think that also links to, you mentioned authenticity a bit as well, and how that can be embedded even through the use of AI tools. So making sure that you're still staying consistent to your brand image and your brand values if you're using AI to support idea generation or content creation or anything like that, to make sure that you don't lose sight of what those brand values are and the things that are important to you, which, as you say, helps to tie into those areas of authenticity and
Well, it's like you don't want to reinvent the wheel, but I want to innovate it. And I think that's sometimes a misconception. We're not looking, well, myself as a marketer, I'm not looking to minimize someone's potential through the use of AI. I'm trying to provide clarity for them as well, so then maybe their productivity could be best suited in their passions, for instance.
I wonder whether you could give some advice for both educators and students, really. So what advice would you give educators at universities or other institutions and schools and colleges on how they can best prepare their creative students to enter the industry?
I would suggest modules to be created to support students on their journey, because inevitably this is the future. It's something that we cannot avoid, and to make the best for the graduates, the best for the students, would be to highlight it in an ethical way. I do think, in a grand scheme of things, the legal element is necessary, especially when it comes to image generation. But there's something that you always said that really does resonate, is if you're not going to be able to make it yourself, don't expect the AI to. And I think that is a message that shouldn't be sidetracked. And also, it's just reminding yourself that you're always learning. I know amazing industry professionals that have been working on AI for a long time, but the discussion is still, what is it? What does it represent? Where do we want to take it? And I think it's something that needs to be pioneered.
Yeah, and do you think that part of pioneering that can happen through classes, through modules, through engagement with industry? What do you think is the best way of doing that?
Definitely involving it in the syllabus. Guest speakers are always great to have. As things develop, I am definitely trying to actually generate my own touch point, my own medium for that message. So it's equally supporting the innovation that is currently undergoing. And it comes down to human teamwork. It's the only way we will evolve in anything, is coming together with a good intent and trusting the students and the graduates with their account of their experiences and how they've used it is necessary too, because then you will understand if that positive message, that support, that initial prompt is being transferred to the next generation.
Linked to the advice you might give to students that are currently studying, you mentioned before about the work you did at Discovery Park and how you did that while you were kind of doing your masters at the same time. Could you tell us a bit more about that in terms of how you used AI in that role and your position within the company?
So wearing lots of hats is usually something that we're advised not to necessarily take on, but AI allows that productivity to be amplified. when I was there, I realised how ahead of the curve the principle of marketing utilising AI actually is, and how we're starting to now get everything together to actually be able to share the knowledge. Discovery Park allowed me to realise the abundant opportunities that are out there. As a student, I utilised Unitemps to attain that role, which gave me industry experience. I stayed after lessons to talk to my teachers and ask about ethics. I asked about whether or not it was worthwhile. And truthfully, I don't think all them conversations would be able to be comprehended without having systems like AI for myself personally.
In terms of, based on that experience and any other experiences that you've had, what advice do you think that, or reassurance you could give to any students that might be listening to this?
Keep believing. Some risks are worth taking. Not everything has to work. Not everything has to come into fruition. But when it resonates and you stand strong in that belief, keep going.
Well, thanks so much, Regan, for coming to be on the podcast.
I appreciate it.
I'm glad that we could have this conversation, and it was a really interesting chat. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you so much, Emma, as well, for coming back on the podcast to interview Regan today. I thought it was a really fascinating conversation, so thank you to you both.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome, Jo.
Is there a specific industry you would like to find out about, or do you have a question you would like asked on the show? Get in touch with us online at the Creative Careers in AI podcast.com.